Hola, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal
Podcast.
and podcast.
What
said
did you
podcast?
No, because you
podcast,
you
and boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Apocalypse of Zephaniah, and this is our Los Dios de Muertos special.
What is that?
I mean, it was a couple days ago. Right?
Yeah, I didn't think that was today.
No, but I mean, we didn't have a show.
You're right.
On the Day of the Dead.
We didn't, but I don't know.
So break out your stale candy skulls, and we're going to start our Zephaniah weekend.
Yeah, that's true. It is a Zephaniah weekend.
Yeah.
Because we'll be reading Zephaniah on Sunday.
Yeah, we will.
With Landon.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. So this is, of course, not written by that Zephaniah, nor is it written by
the
same
Zephaniah.
person who wrote that Zephaniah. It is a first century text around. It could be the first century BC or the first century CE. Either way, it's originally a Greek text, probably written by a Jew because it lacks anything. I mean, it lacks anything distinctly Christian. So it could be written by a Christian, but there's like nothing there that speaks to.
It would have been a very early Christian if it were.
Right, exactly. So it's still essentially Jewish. Even the Christians at the time were just Jewish Christians. They still would identify as Jews at the time.
Yes.
So let's talk about the Apocalypse of Zephaniah. So this book is, of course, another apocalypse, and we get some more views of heaven and things that are going on. We get some angelology in here as well. There are good angels and evil angels. We'll be talking about all that today. So first,
we are reading from the Old Testament pseudepigrapha.
Yeah, we are. This is Volume 1, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments from James H. Charlesworth. And this section, let's see, a new translation and introduction by O.S. Wintermute.
Wintermute.
That's a cool name, too.
Winter and Mute.
You know,
yes.
we've got a good match set up, DC Dueling versus Wintermute.
Yep.
I could see it happening. That's a money match right there.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, main event.
It is.
So there aren't that many fragments of this. There aren't that many manuscripts of it, I should say. And some of them they're not really complete either. So some scholars, it says here that Carl Schmidt in particular thinks that only about 1/4 of the text has been preserved. And I mean, there's some other ideas about it, but I think most people take up that view from what it seems. So here's what's actually preserved. So there's a short Greek quotation that's cited by Clement of Alexandria. There are 2 pages of a Sahidic manuscript and 18 pages of Akamik text. So
tell me about those 2 groups.
I don't even know about those 2 languages, so I couldn't exactly tell you. What is described here is the fact that they each contain like a different amount of things, obviously, because they're just different lengths entirely. And some of the words that are used between them are like most of it is the same, but there are certainly parts that have been changed a little bit, but not like by too much. Like they changed like the name of God in one or the other.
All right.
So the Akamik manuscript contains the largest portion of surviving text. It may be divided into 2 major sections. So you have, he calls it a travelogue instead of a dialogue because he's traveling. Yeah, right. And then the trumpet scenes, and the trumpet scenes are kind of they're at the end there. So it's essentially what we have. It's just kind of broken up a little bit, which is why those other texts do make sense. And we have the same issue with the quotation from Clement of Alexandria, that a few things are changed here and there, but it does seem like a citation of the text. So yeah, we're going to have scenes from a heavenly location above Jerusalem. We have scenes from Mount Seir, from the heavenly city, from within the city, from Hades, and yeah, there are a couple more visions, you could say. And now, see, usually when we have these broken up visions, there is some sort of dialogue about something in between. There's something that happens in between that shifts over to the next one. Mm-hmm. This one isn't like that, which is why a lot of scholars do think that it's incomplete, that it should be longer. Because from all other apocalyptic texts, there's usually something that's supposed to connect all those things together. And sometimes it's obvious, and then other times it's just not, as is tradition.
So this is like a greatest hits album of Zephaniah's travels.
I suppose, yes. it's the greatest hits. So the title now, it's not preserved as a title like we would think of for a book. It's mostly dependent on other citations of it and other references to it. So the title Apocalypse of Zephaniah is not preserved in either of the surviving Coptic manuscripts, but the Sahidic manuscript contains the following statement: "Truly I, Zephaniah, saw these things in a vision." So Apocalypse of Zephaniah makes sense there.
Right.
It's
not a testament. It's an apocalypse.
It's an apocalypse. It is not entirely clear from the content of the surviving portions of text why the author selected Zephaniah as the name of the seer. There are some parallels with the biblical book of Zephaniah, but there are stronger parallels to Zechariah. The strongest parallels to Zephaniah in the surviving text are the concern for apostate priests and the mention of God's coming wrath. Since a considerable amount of text is missing, it is quite probable that some lost episode near the beginning of the text provided a literary tie to the biblical prophet Zephaniah.
Which, of course, we'll be covering on Sunday.
Yeah, we will. So I talked a little bit about the preservation of the text, what it still exists in, and it's often found with the Apocalypse of Elijah as well, or the Ascension of Isaiah too. Mm-hmm. And they're often found together, and even when they're just listed, it seems like they're in order listed together. So I don't know if that suggests that they circulated together. I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe they were just reaching their peak popularity
maybe
around the same time.
Somebody made a collection, and it was found with it. At minimum.
Sure. So the text of the Apocalypse of Zephaniah has been partially preserved in two separate manuscripts that come from the White Monastery of Shenouda near Sohag. The earlier manuscript, which Steindorf dated at the end of the 4th century, is written in Akamik. The second manuscript, which Steindorf dated at the beginning of the 5th century, is written in Sahidic. Both manuscripts contain the text of the Apocalypse of Elijah as well as the Apocalypse of Zephaniah. Since the surviving text was purchased for European libraries leaf by leaf in two separate lots, there was originally a considerable amount of confusion about the identity of these of the texts, of the content of these texts. And then a second lot of papyri from the same Akamik manuscript was uncovered in 1888 by K. Reinhardt. That collection consisted of 16 pages of text, 4 from the Apocalypse of Zephaniah and 12 from the Apocalypse of Elijah. The Greek text of Clement's citation has been published in, this person's name is Stalin, by the way, in Stalin's edition of Stromata.
Not that Stalin.
Not that Stalin. Different Stalin. This one seems German. Because, it has the umlaut, but I guess other languages have that too. So okay. I'm not entirely sure. In addition to that quotation, there are 3 ancient witnesses who mention in Apocalypse of Zephaniah. Since they simply list the title without quoting from the document, there is some uncertainty about the relationship between the Coptic Apocalypse and the work cited. And there is a lot of talk about how it was kind of stitched together in this, and I'm not going to get into the great details because it talks about like these line by line things where scholars can kind of like guess how long the original was, and they're like, well, can this even fit in this big of a manuscript, stuff like that. So it's hard to go into it right now, and it'd be honestly kind of boring. And there are a few other mentions of that as well. So more on the date. Yeah, I mentioned kind of the time period.
So around circa 1 AD.
Turn of the millennium. Yeah. So if the quotation by Clement of Alexandria is part of the Apocalypse, then there are distinct limits for the time within which the text is to be dated. The earliest date for the Apocalypse of Zephaniah is sometime after the story of Susanna was circulated in Greek as a part of the book of Daniel. You remember Susanna?
I remember Susanna.
That was a messed up story.
Yeah, it was.
Susanna.
Let's not talk about that.
It's a song.
Could go back. Is it?
Yeah.
By who?
It's a folk song.
Oh, I've never even heard of it.
Banjo on my knee.
Yeah. Come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee. I'm
Have-
going to Louisiana where my true love were to see.
Yeah, that's
Never
a really
even heard of
old
it.
folk song.
Never heard of
Sorry.
it.
A real old folk song.
Never heard of it. All right.
At least
Wow.
Jacob has. Burger here, yeah.
In 610, the author of the Apocalypse appeals to the accounts of Susanna, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego as examples of God's power to deliver. Unfortunately, the date and even the original language of composition of the tale of Susanna are still matters of debate. But one could assume with some certainty that the text would be well known in Alexandria as part of the book of Daniel during the 1st century BC. The later date is, of course, the time of Clement of Alexandria, which makes perfect sense. So for who the author was, we talked a little bit about how it was not that Zephaniah, how it wasn't the biblical one, and how it wasn't the same person who wrote the biblical one. This is much later.
Yes.
And talked a little bit about, them just being Jewish. That's all we could really tell because it lacks anything distinctly Christian. And other than that, we really don't know much about him other than the theology that kind of...
It's like God's wrath.
It represents definitely a turn of the millennium form of Judaism. So if it's right in there, but it still lacks that distinctly Christian thing. So we can tell some things about the evolution of these ideas. It's definitely helpful for that, as are all books, biblically speaking. And those are really the only important things that I had to mention. The rest of this is just its relationship to other apocryphal works and canonical works, and it just kind of ties it in with some ideas in those other books, which
we already know: Ascension of Isaiah, Apocalypse of Elijah.
Yeah, those especially. It was at least partly circulated with those, but it brings up stuff like any theological links with like Job and a whole plethora of other books.
All right.
So it's stuff that we will see because we've read through this stuff. We can be like,
which will probably be pointed out in the footnotes.
That too as well.
So, hey, if you've enjoyed that introduction, share it with your friends, family, neighbors.
Yes, please share the introduction.
Yep. So let me hop into this. The Apocalypse of Zephaniah it starts with Clement Stromata 51177. So
yeah, this is the quotation from Clement.
Yeah. So there's an A and then there's a B before it gets into the Akamik text, which starts with chapter 1.
Okay.
So the scene in the fifth heaven, A, and there's a series of footnotes just for A,
I'm sure,
which we'll get to as we go through it, sometimes mid-sentence. All right. And a spirit took me and brought me up into the fifth heaven, and I saw angels who are called lords. Now, there's a footnote here.
for lords. Good,
Yes.
good.
In 2 Enoch 18, the seer also finds a host in the fifth heaven. In that text, they are called agoroi, or Gregory in text A. Charles identifies them with the Aramaic Irim, who appear in Daniel. That word is translated into Greek as egregori, watchers. When Enoch first saw them, they were lamenting for their fallen brethren, but he persuaded them to praise God with their singing, as the lords are doing in the present passage. The background for designating an angelic host as lords may be sought in the Septuagint version of Deuteronomy 10:14 through 17, where the God of the heavens is described as God of gods and Lord of lords. The mention of many gods and many lords in 1 Corinthians 8:5 may also be related to Deuteronomy 10:17, but is basically pejorative in its thrust and consequently belongs in a different tradition than the present work. All right. But these are the Watchers, basically.
Great. Fantastic.
And the diadem was set upon them in the Holy Spirit. There's another footnote. Okay, they capitalized Holy Spirit. And the throne of each of them was sevenfold more brilliant than the light of the rising sun.
That sounds pretty brilliant to me.
Yeah, there's a footnote that says in Dan 7:9, there's mention of thrones being set up for the scene of judgment. Which I remember that. Do you?
Yeah, I do. Was it for the angels? I don't remember that part. We could check because we have Bibles aplenty here.
Yeah, you can check Daniel 7:9.
Okay, I can do that.
So these are like luminous thrones.
Yeah.
And they were dwelling in the temples of salvation and singing hymns to the ineffable Most High God. The Greek ineffable here is used in two senses. One who is indescribable because he is beyond comprehension, and two, one whose name ought not be spoken because it is prohibited outside of a limited cultic setting.
Yeah. As I looked, thrones were placed, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was fiery flames. Its wheels were burning fire.
Yep. Now we're in. That's the end of the Clement piece. Now we're in the Sahidic fragment.
Yeah, so the Clement piece, I guess the translators there put it on because they're like, we think it's from this text, but it's not, like, we don't have this existing anywhere else.
Yeah.
So they stuck it at the very beginning.
So, and also there's a wide list of things that are mentioned in the side here as being referenced either from or by this Clement piece. Which includes Ezekiel 11:1, 2 Enoch 18, 3 Baruch 11, Ascension of Isaiah 7:32 through 37, Testament of Levi 3, Revelation 19:12, 1 Kings 22:19, Isaiah 6:1 through 8, Ezra 1:26 through 28.
Yeah, so
a lot of things packed into those few sentences.
Yeah, I don't know if those would be quotations or just supposed to be like a thing for like a cross-reference.
Yeah.
To see that idea somewhere else. That's what I'm guessing it's from, because it doesn't sound like they're quotations, but it does sound like the ideas.
They're cross-references, definitely.
Yeah.
So this Sahidic fragment, this is B. Yeah. The seer's vision of his soul in torment. And this is more fragmentary.
Yeah.
I'm going to do little hand signs for when it's conjectural. They have brackets around certain parts. So I saw a soul which 5,000 angels punished, ? The meaning of the Coptic word used here and in verse 5 is uncertain. So it may be punished. And guarded, they took it to the east and they brought it to the west.
Man, fragmentary texts suck.
Yeah. So fragmentary.
Jeez,
here.
I want to know what all these air quotes contexts mean, because usually, I'm getting, I know.
Yeah.
It'd be funny, though, if they,
Yeah.
Keep going.
They beat it. They gave it 100.
Okay, so they got nothing. All
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
nothing.
just dots.
Textual breaks.
Yep. Lashes for each one daily. So each one must refer to the angels. They're receiving lashes.
Yeah. Which makes sense for the Watchers.
Mm-hmm. I was afraid, and I cast myself up on my face so that my joints dissolved. The angel helped me. He said to me, "Be strong, O one who will triumph, and prevail so that you will triumph over this accuser and you will come up from Hades.
Yeah, so they and we're gonna get into it a little bit later, but those ugly angels, the bad angels, they pretty much do act like the biblical role of Satan.
Yes. Now, there's an interesting bit about this sentence that's read. There's a similar phrase on folio 35b of the Coptic version of the Apocalypse of Paul, edited by Budge. It reads, "Be strong, O one who will triumph, and you will triumph over the accuser who will come up from Hades." The text of Apocalypse of Paul must represent either a quotation from the present text or a borrowing from a common stock of liturgical expressions. The version in the Apocalypse of Paul has been corrupted so that it appears that the accuser is the one who will come up from Hades. But when it's corrected to agree with the wording of the present apocalypse, the sense of the Apocalypse of Paul is improved. The reading, "O one who will triumph," in the present text requires reading the Coptic peknajro as petnajro, though. So there is a bit of addition here. An interesting carryover there, which we'll get to the Apocalypse of Paul eventually.
Yeah.
"And after I arose, I said, 'Who is this whom they are punishing?' He said to me, 'This is a soul which was found in its lawlessness. And before it attained to repenting, it was visited and taken out of its body. Truly, I, Zephaniah, saw these things in my vision.'" Now we're in the next section of the Sihitic text, and the last section of the Sihitic text.
Okay.
The scene in a broad place.
You know, which book was it that had the does it say that they were the souls or the spirits? What was the phrasing there in the last sentence?
Truly, I, Zephaniah, saw these things in my vision.
No, sorry, no, I guess not the last sentence.
This is a soul which was found in its lawlessness.
Okay, so that would be the angels.
Yeah, they're referring to the angels who are being punished with these lashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the scene in a broad place. "And the angel of the Lord went with me." The angel of the Lord appears in the Old Testament as a figure closely identified with Yahweh. We're all familiar with the angel of the Lord.
Yeah, there was plenty of that stuff.
Yep. "I saw a great broad place. Thousands of thousands surrounded it on its left side, and myriads of myriads on its right side. The form of each one was different." The word for form can also represent the Greek word genos or phusis.
Go on this. Types.
Genus, nature.
Sure. Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Comes from. Yeah.
"Their hair was loose, like that belonging to woman. Their teeth were like teeth of."
Oh man, I want to know what their teeth were like.
Yeah, the remainder of the text is broken off. The reverse side of the papyrus is illegible except for isolated words.
That's unfortunate.
Hooray!
So now we've read the quote from Clement and the Sihitic fragment, and we're into the Akamik text,
Great.
of which we are now going to be reading the first chapter. This is titled "Fragment Dealing with Burial."
So yeah, still fragmentary.
Yes. So ... Dead. We will bury him like any man. Now, the author may be explaining what the burial practice in a typical situation is that would contrast with the seer's Odin transformation. It's also possible that the seer is here quoting someone else who is describing the seer's own body, which appeared to be dead.
From
Technically, you just got here right on time. That was the first line of the first chapter.
first chapter, technically.
Yeah, you did it.
Technically.
We did an introduction, and then we had some. I mean, it's still fragmentary, but we had some fragments to read from different textual traditions.
Yeah. Whenever he dies, we will carry him out playing the cithara before him and chanting psalms and odes over his body. This description of the funeral rite is so brief that it's not possible to tell whether it's Christian or Jewish.
Sure.
In 2 Samuel...
And it's interesting to think about who they're referring to. Will bury him like any man. If they're referring to just a regular man, then it would describe a burial rite of some sort.
If they're referring to an angel...
Right, then it would supposed to be like a derogatory kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we're in chapter 2. Scenes from above the seer's city.
That was really fast.
Yeah, they're really short chapters.
They're fragmentary. Now I went with the angel of the Lord, and he took me up over all my city. Jerusalem would be the most likely city.
Yeah. It's always Jerusalem.
Yeah. There was nothing before my eyes. This could also be translated as no one before my eyes.
Yeah, it's the same word.
Mm-hmm.
It's udain.
Then I saw 2 men walking together on one road. The present passage is obviously related to the words of Jesus reported in Matthew 24:40 and Luke 17:34. Unfortunately, the nature of the relationship is not easy to determine.
Yeah.
I watched them as they talked. The LK
Talked?
Talked.
Talked. Okay.
Yeah. And moreover, I also saw 2.
If those are textual breaks, I don't know if those are textual breaks or emendations. Because if it's like a word like that,
it's a word or a piece of a word that's amended there. So this is probably like where you couldn't possibly read the letter or the word.
Right.
That's
So if
place.
they only had like the back of the word, that would make sense for a translation like that. But sometimes you kind of need stuff in the middle of the word, because like if there are like if there's an omicron and an iota in there somewhere, it could be a subjunctive. So like if that first half of the word isn't there, it would change the meaning of the sentence, because if it's that would be an optative, I think. But the thing is, it would be translated differently depending on how you amend that. So I guess they're just going with talked.
Yeah.
Because they just had the end of the word there.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they had the beginning and the end.
Oh,
We're
was
missing the middle.
Missing the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Malcolm laughed.
Okay. And I saw 2 women grinding together at a mill, and I watched them as they talked. And I also saw 2 upon a bed, each one of them acting for their mutual...
Their mutual blank.
Yeah. The translation of each one of them acting for their mutual on a bed is uncertain.
On a bed.
If we were certain of the reading on a bed, or if we were able to restore the word that fits the lacuna, we could then be more confident about reading the rest of the phrase. The word,
absolutely, because it could go, because on a bed could just go anywhere in the sentence, honestly.
Yeah. The word in the lacuna is a Greek word ending in ia, ia. This could be adikia, anomia, or some words suggesting repose. The list of words could be extended to include words meaning harmony, pleasure, or accord. The parallel from
it could be an adjective that's being used as a noun, because that's a thing that happens a lot.
Yes, the adjenoun, everyone's favorite.
If I said like the good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's an adjective being used as a noun.
Yeah. And I saw the whole inhabited world hanging like a drop of water.
Hey, listen here, Kent Hovind.
Didn't he get arrested?
Again, yeah, I think he did, yeah.
Oh, man. Poor Kent.
What happened?
Yeah, poor Kent. I could be wrong. I don't want to implicate myself in anything. So allegedly, I mean, I think it was for domestic abuse
Was it?
this time around. Yeah,
Wow.
Oh,
I
man.
think I could be very wrong on that. So please, someone fact check me,
Yeah, don't
because
4chan here.
I don't want to just accuse Kent of that without being 100% certain
Yeah.
that that's actually what he got arrested for.
Well, someone will figure it out for us.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Anyway, I saw the whole inhabited world hang like a drop of water, which is suspended from a bucket when it comes up from a well. And there's translation notes, like there's errors in here that make it difficult to translate.
As is tradition.
I said to the angel of the Lord, then does darkness or night not exist in this place? He said to me, no, because darkness does not exist in that place where the righteous and the saints are, but rather they always exist in the light. And I saw all the souls of men as they existed in punishment. And I cried out to the Lord Almighty, "Oh God, if you remain with the saints, you certainly have compassion on behalf of the world and the souls which are in this punishment."
Yeah, it sounds like it's lining up with the descriptions we got from what was it? Was the Apocalypse of Abraham, or was it Second Enoch that talks about? No, I think it was Apocalypse of Abraham, right, where you had the different heavens, and in one of them he saw like people melting. Was that one?
That was Apocalypse of Abraham, and that was not in the heavens. That was on the way up when they got to the edge of the firmament.
Was that on the edge of the firmament? Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, if we were to take details from the Testament of Solomon into account while considering that scene, then that could possibly be demons who were there. Yeah.
True.
Anyways, chapter 3, vision of recording angels from Mount Seir. The angel of the Lord said to me, "Come, let me show you the place of righteousness." Yeah. Place is in brackets and has a question mark next to it.
So that word must be missing.
Yeah, a feminine noun that describes the location is needed at this point. There's a similar phrase in the Coptic Apocalypse of Paul in a work that appears to depend upon the present text in several places.
You could have teacher of righteousness.
Could be.
Because that was like a common thing. Also, especially in like Qumran.
Well, the Coptic text of the Apocalypse of Paul records the following command by Paul's guiding angel: "Rise up now and follow me, and let me show you to your place." Then the angel leads Paul into paradise. So,
I guess so. It would make sense then.
mm-hmm. And he took me up upon Mount Seir, and he showed me 3 men, as 2 angels walked with them, rejoicing and exulting over them. So this is probably the Edomite Seir, which is closely associated with Mount Sinai and the theophanies that appear in the Song of Deborah. I mean, obviously Edom is a bad guy, but after the conquest of Edom by John Hyrcanus, the Idumeans began to be fully involved in the affairs of Judah. During the period of Antipater and the Herodians, pro-Edomite sentiment undoubtedly flourished.
Yeah, and I mean, Edom was like one of the main antagonists of Israel throughout the Bible.
Yeah. So the most likely period for this pro-Edomite portion of the narrative that locates the prophet's vision on Mount Seir is between 128 BC and AD 70.
Oh yeah, Justin, I think maybe you weren't here when we were talking about the fact that most of it was contained with other apocalypses and other texts.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't just found like on its own in its entirety or anything. It was usually along with other texts, like the Ascension of Isaiah. So it was with a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Though in the Nag Hammadi Apocalypse of Paul, the ascent of the apostle takes place from the mountain of Jericho. So this location
What's your cat doing?
changes.
Yeah, what is my cat doing? Cat's name is Jericho, for anyone that didn't get that joke.
Okay.
You wouldn't. Also, could have done a wrestling joke.
Also
Same
that.
name.
Walls of
Same
Jericho.
You
reason.
could have.
Named for wrestler.
Could have done a number of things.
Oh, it's right here. This middle one is supposed to be Jericho.
Wow.
Yeah.
I said to the angel, "Of what sort are these?" He said to me, "These are the 3 sons of Jotham, the priest, who neither kept the commandment of their father nor observed the ordinances of the Lord."
Oh my God.
Those guys?
Trash.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, identifying Jotham and his sons is not a simple matter. The name Jotham appears in Josephus as a spelling for Jotham. This is different spellings. I'd pronounce them the same. Josephus identifies 2 high priests by that name.
Great.
Oh, it's like this wall guard problem again. Remember the guards for the temple and their names being constantly changed or confused or having duplicates?
A second Jotham, son of Julius, is mentioned in the list of high priests who held office between the time of Solomon and the Babylonian captivity. That's lots of Jothams, lots of possible Jothams. Then I saw 2 other angels weeping over the 3 sons of Jotham, the priest. I said, "O angel, who are these?" He said, "These are the angels of the Lord Almighty. They write down all the good deeds of the righteous upon their manuscript as they watch at the gate of heaven. And I take them from their hands and bring them up before the Lord Almighty. He writes their name in the book of the living."
Yeah. Or just book of life. So of course we've seen the book of life thing come up a lot, especially in the Old Testament. And your name being written in the book of life. And this is kind of approaching this more modern view of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see, was it St. Peter at the gate or something? Is that who you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he signs you in or something. Like a
It's like,
bouncer.
wait, you're not on the list.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's just me and my lady. You can let us in. Like, I can't do that for you.
Yeah.
Well, how about if I give you one of these? Yeah.
It's an indulgence.
Yeah. In that case, come right on in.
That'd be a good bit.
Yeah. So the book of the living. Also, the angels of the accuser who is upon the earth, they also write down all the sins of men upon their manuscript. They also sit at the gate of heaven. They tell the accuser, and he writes them upon his manuscript so that he might accuse them when they come out of the world and down there.
Yeah, and this is kind of, taking up the mantle of Satan, at least the classical idea of Satan, not the modern one. As his role as like this judge who goes around on earth and accuses people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to hand this off to you after this next chapter here.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Chapter 4. Vision of ugly angels who carry off the souls of ungodly men.
All right. This sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Then I walked with the angel of the Lord. I looked before me, and I saw a place there. Thousands of thousands and myriads of angels entered through it. Their faces were like a leopard, their tusks being outside their mouth like wild boars. Their eyes were mixed with blood. Their hair was loose like the hair of women, and fiery scourges were in their hands. When I saw them, I was afraid.
I was petrified.
Yeah. I said to the angel who walked with me, "Of what sort are these?" He said to me, "These are the servants of all creation, who come to the souls of ungodly men and bring them and leave them in this place. They spend 3 days going around with them in the air before they bring them and cast them into their eternal punishment."
Okay. Yeah. So you have these horrifying looking angels that that take people when they die, fly around with them for a little bit, for 3 days.
And then cast them into eternal punishment.
Yeah.
People.
That's what these angels do.
Yep. I said, I beseech you, O Lord, don't give them authority to come to me.
Keep them away from me, please.
Yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with these.
They're scary.
Yeah. The angel said, don't fear. I will not permit them to come to you because you are pure before the Lord. I will not permit them to come to you because the Lord Almighty sent me to you because you are pure before him. Then he beckoned to them, and they withdrew themselves, and they ran from me.
Wow. So them being described as servants of creation.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of seems like
leopard-faced with boar tusks and loose hair.
It seems like, so it is kind of like, it's not really that similar, but it has some similarities with like the what are they called? Hecatoncheires? I think that's what they're called. Yeah. Of course they're, completely different in look. But the point is they're like
monstrous.
Yeah. These guys aren't like locked away, but it does seem like their purpose is only, it is this one thing to just take away the souls of the damned and throw them into damnation. And apparently it seems like they're also treated like pests a little bit. Like, hey, keep these things away from me. It's like, oh, shoo, get out of here. And then they scurry away. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It seems subservient. And it...
of course. Well, all the angels are subservient.
Right. But the way that it's described is a lot more submissive, I guess.
Yeah.
Than the way like you would say like the angels are going out or something like that.
Yeah. So that was chapter 4. If you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, countrymen, etc. I'm gonna hand it off to you. I'm gonna jump into the rest.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Okay, well, make sure you jump. And yes, we did say Mount Seir. We're talking about this is like where it's coming from, the vision, I think, or he's on Mount, or he was seeing Mount Seir or something. Yeah. All right. So on to chapter 5. Here we go. But I went with the angel of the Lord, and I looked in front of me, and I saw gates. Then, when I approached them, I discovered that they were bronze gates. The angel touched them, and they opened before him. I entered with him and found its whole square like a beautiful city, and I walked in its midst. Then the angel of the Lord transformed himself beside me in that place. So now the angel looks different. And, I'm just shocked that the gates are made of bronze. How horrible. What trash to make your heavenly gates out of. Now, I looked at them. And I discovered that... Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so this is weird. Okay, so there's a note there on transforming himself. So in the Ascension of Isaiah, there are a number of transformations. At 9:30, Isaiah is apparently transformed to appear like an angel. We've had that in a few texts before, I think. Sure. In 10:18 through 27, Isaiah witnesses the various transformations of the Lord as he descends from heaven to heaven. The reader is reminded of the transfiguration scenes in the Gospels or the theological commentary of 2 Corinthians. The ancestor of the transfiguration motif in Judaism may ultimately be the translation of Elijah in 2 Kings 2:11, or the account of Moses' shining face. I don't know about those. The expectation that all who are righteous will be transfigured is based on Daniel 12. Yeah, I remember that part. That's where it was a big thing. So I think... So the next sentence then, I'm not sure if it totally makes sense. So now I looked at them. Yeah, then the angel of the Lord transformed himself beside me in that place. Now I looked at them, being the gates, and I discovered that they were bronze gates and bronze bolts and iron bars. Now my mouth was shut therein. I beheld. beheld the bronze gates in front of me as fire was being cast forth for about 50 stadia. So that's, pretty long.
Big.
Yeah, it's really big. We haven't... How did the angel transform himself?
He can just do that.
No, I mean, like, what was
happened?
the result of that?
What changed? Yeah. What did he change into? How did he... Never mind.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll tell us. Maybe it won't. It could just drop it entirely.
Yeah, there's nothing... there's nothing even in the notes about that. I feel like a pronoun was changed or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just that's weird there. But yeah, now there's fire being fucking shot out of these gates.
Oh man, and I've returned.
Oh my God!
I got a heavenly vision.
Oh yeah, what did you see?
I saw all of these horrific creatures. They looked like they had facial hair here and here and a little bit here. And they had long hair and
They were pale.
They were pale.
Wow.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Black clothes.
This is a very detailed vision.
They had weird devices upon their heads
I-
that covered their ears.
I totally believe that.
Yep.
So that was chapter 5. So we can hop into chapter 6 then.
Yes, do so.
Really wish we had more
Seriously.
on what the angel looks like now.
Ugly.
No, we don't get anything like that.
I guess not. So here's a vision of the accuser and the angel Eremiel in Hades.
All right.
Again, I turned back and walked, and I saw a great sea. But I thought that it was a sea of water. I discovered that it was entirely a sea of flame, like a slime, which casts forth much flame, and whose waves burn sulfur and bitumen.
So like a lake of fire.
A lake of fire.
Yeah.
You see a lake of fire, but
So
apparently it looks like water from far away.
We're in hell.
Essentially, yeah. They began to approach me. Who is they?
I guess we'll find out.
Or is he talking about? Okay, so maybe it's talking about the
Gate.
No, not the gate. I don't know if it's the flames or the waves or both, or just this the sea in general, the sea of fire in general. Then I thought that the Lord Almighty had come to visit me. Then when I saw, I fell upon my face before him in order that I might worship him. I was very much afraid, and I entreated him that he might save me from this distress. I cried out, saying, Eloi, Lord Adonai, Sabaoth, I beseech you to save me from this distress, because it has befallen me. So there's a pretty hefty textual note here about the titles that he lists off.
Mm-hmm.
So Steindorf suggests that this represents a Hebrew phrase, Elohe Adonai Adonai Sabaoth, which would be translated, "My God, my Lord, Lord of hosts." That looks like a curious expression indeed. It is hard to imagine that it would be constructed in a Hebrew-speaking community. It is also strange that anyone would translate the first Adonai and transcribe the second. It would appear that the author of this text was not well acquainted with Hebrew. He apparently knew two Hebrew epithets, Eloi and Adonai Sabaoth. He used the two of them together with his own Greek term, kurios, Lord, to address God by means of three of his titles, Eloi, Kurios, Adonai Sabaoth. The Coptic translator translated the Greek and left the Hebrew transcriptions in place. So there's that. That same instant, I stood up, and I saw a great angel before me. His hair, maybe this is the same one from before. Maybe this is what they transformed into. Who knows?
Maybe.
His hair was spread out like a lioness. His teeth were outside his mouth like a bear. His hair was spread out like women's. His body was like the serpent's when he wished to swallow me. Okay. Could he unhinge his jaw?
Could be coiled.
Coiled, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I saw him, I was afraid of him, so that all of my parts of my body were loosened, and I fell upon my face. He passed out.
Man, I love these face crashing guys.
Yeah, passed out.
Yeah, he fainted. He was too scared.
Yeah. I was unable to stand, and I prayed before the Lord Almighty, you will save me from this distress. You are the one who saved Israel from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. You saved Susanna from the hand of the elders of injustice.
Yeah, so if you remember in this Song of Susanna, basically there were these elders who wanted to sleep with her, and she told them off, and then they falsely accused her in order to get her murdered.
It was a pretty messed up story.
Yeah.
Really messed up. We were not expecting that.
No.
Nope.
So yeah, from the hand of the elders of injustice, you saved the three holy men, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, from the furnace of burning fire. That's, of course, in Daniel. I beg you to save me from this distress.
So this guy must be a big fan of the Greek version of Daniel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I could definitely, this is another reason he would be a Greek speaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I arose and stood, and I saw a great angel standing before me, with his face shining like the rays of the sun in its glory, since his face is like that which is perfected in its glory. And he was girded as if a golden girdle were upon his breast. His feet were like bronze, which is melted in a fire. And when I saw him, I rejoiced, for I thought that the Lord Almighty had come to visit me. So this is an angel here, and I guess this is how the Lord is saving him from the scary looking angel, to turn it into a statue like angel,
Statuesque.
I fell upon my face and I worshipped him. He said to me, "Take heed, don't worship me. I am not the Lord Almighty, but I am the great angel, Aramiel." So this is the angel whose duty it is to watch over the souls of Hades. The same figure appears in 4th Ezra 4:36 as Jeremiel. In that text, Ezra asks how long he must wait until the new age, and he is informed that the righteous are in the underworld and in the chambers of the souls, which are like a womb that will bear when its time is filled. In 2nd Baruch 55:3 and 63:6, the name is spelled Ramiel. He is described in that text as the angel who presides over true visions. In 1st Enoch 20, the spelling is Ramiel. He is listed as one of the 7 archangels. He is set over those who rise. So that would make sense there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says here, I'm the great angel Aramiel, who is over the abyss and Hades, the one in which all the souls are imprisoned from the end of the flood, which came upon the earth until this day. Then I inquired of the angel, "What is the place to which I have come?" He said to me, "It is Hades." Then I asked him, "Who is the great angel who stands thus, whom I saw?" He said, "This is the one who accuses men in the presence of the Lord." Oh, okay, great. Okay, so we have the scary angel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have this beautiful angel, I guess.
And Scary Angel records people's sins and accuses them in front of the Lord, presumably at the time of judgment.
Yeah, and this is scary looking angel. Being like
yes,
part
volcano
snake.
story.
Let's see where we're at here. Then Yeah. Okay. So I think it goes on here to say, then I inquired of the angel, what is this place I have come? He said to me, it is Hades. Asked him who the great angel who stands thus, whom I saw, and he said, this is the one who accuses men in the presence of the Lord. And then we are on to chapter 7.
Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, share, comment, subscribe, etc.
And apparently in this one, there are 2 pages missing.
Oh.
In the manuscript, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's better that it's missing there than here.
Right.
That would make our reading hella difficult. Then I looked. Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. So hold up here. Vision of the 2 manuscripts.
Oh.
All right.
Like we have 2 manuscripts.
Yep. Then I looked, and I saw him with a manuscript in his hand. He began to unroll it. I'm guessing this is the book of the life?
Or the book of sins.
I guess we'll see. Now, after he spread it out, I read it in my own language. I found that all my sins, which I had done, were written in it. Those which I had done from my youth until this day. They were all written upon that manuscript of mine without there being a false word in them. If I did not go to visit a sick man or a widow, I found it written down as a shortcoming upon my manuscript. If I did not visit an orphan, it was found written down as a shortcoming on my manuscript. A day on which I did not fast or pray in the time of prayer, I found written down as a failing upon my manuscript. And a day when I did not turn to the sons of Israel, since it is a shortcoming, I found written down upon my manuscript. So that I threw myself upon my face and prayed before the Lord Almighty. May your mercy reach me, and may you wipe out my manuscript, because your mercy has come to be in every place and has filled every place. So now he is
unhappy with his permanent record and wants to erase it.
Yeah, because of all the... Well, I mean, it's not specifically bad things he did, but it's specifically...
It's just an embarrassing search history, you know?
Not even that. It's... Here are things that you didn't do. And, I mean, it seems like he is keeping away this angel, right? The horrible angel that's supposed to take you to damnation. That's essentially what's... I mean, so I don't really think he has an issue there.
Right.
But he's still embarrassed by it.
Yo.
Right.
Then I arose and stood, and I saw a great angel before me, saying to me, triumph, prevail, because you have prevailed and have triumphed over the accuser, and you have come up from Hades in the abyss. You will now cross over the crossing place. So I guess he won that one?
He won!
Yeah, because he's pure.
I guess he's pure.
Said so earlier.
Yeah, it did.
Even though he has sins that he's done there, it's written down.
I guess you could hardly call them sins. I think that's
I guess.
But he won anyways. Again, he brought another manuscript, which was written by hand. He began to unroll it, and I read it, and I found it written in my own language. So here's where we have some missing pages, which I'm guessing if you have the book of, filled with sins, I'm guessing the other one is supposed to be the book of life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a shame we don't have it, but it could be another book, obviously. It could be another one.
Yeah, it could be. There's
It-
obviously a lot of details that we lose with a short work like this missing 2 pages in a specific section.
Yeah, so here are the 2 missing pages, at least description. In the missing pages, the author probably discussed the content of the second manuscript, fucking obviously, which should have recorded the good deeds of the seer. If the missing material is parallel to the preceding section, the reader of the manuscript would be followed. Yeah, it would be followed by a prayer, possibly a prayer of thanksgiving. That would be followed by preparations for crossing over the river in a journey out of Hades. The section that follows begins after the arrival of a boat. Okay, so yeah, they basically looked at chapter 7 and chapter 8, and he was like, "How do we get there?"
This is very Greek.
Isn't it though? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredibly Greek, especially because it was written in Greek also.
Yeah.
The Greeks. I don't know.
So on to chapter 8. They helped me and set me on a boat. Thousands and myriads of angels gave praise before me. I myself put on an angelic garment. I saw all those angels praying. I myself prayed together with them. I knew their language, which they spoke with me. Now, moreover, my sons, this is really weird. So
maybe this is like...
So maybe he's supposed to be talking to like a congregation here? Like to the hearers of this?
Probably changed locations and everything. Who knows?
This could be like what they do in a number of different books and in Jewish traditions where like they frame it in as a story that he's telling to his children.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm getting out of that. I'm going to finish the sentence and then we'll talk about it here. So, now, moreover, my sons, this is the trial because it is necessary that the good and the evil be weighed in a balance. So, yeah, being in balance sounds a little Egyptian there to me.
Yeah.
Although I think we have had that...
a few times.
Yeah, we've had that idea
Easy
before.
to mix that theme in there with judgment and trial.
Absolutely.
But... So this is something that we saw, especially in Enoch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where Enoch,
Shout out to Enoch.
Yeah, shout out to Enoch. He's talking to his sons after he goes through the thing and tells them everything that he went through. Right?
Yeah. But I guess this would make more sense if we had the actual beginning of the text.
Instead of starting at the end of a sentence.
Yeah. So yeah, now moreover my sons there. So this sentence is an attempt to sum up the preceding episode. Yeah. We were right. Addressed to the hearers. Yeah. So yeah, on to chapter 9.
Wow, they miss so much of 8, don't they?
Yeah, it would be nice to have the rest of that.
Yeah.
I want to know
what was in that second manuscript.
What makes someone good? We'll never know now. They never tell us what a good person does.
They
They
probably
only tell us what sins are.
If you wait until Sunday,
oh man,
when
really?
we read Zephaniah, then you'll get to hear about all the good things that he did, or like at least some things that he apparently said.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe he can tell us about those.
Or it could be like one of those questions that you ask God, and he's just like, yeah, funny, you're funny.
Good question.
Let me talk about something completely different.
Yeah.
So I think that, it might have stuff like, well, you didn't kill anybody. That's good. Because like the other one was like, of bad things you did was you didn't, help orphans, or you didn't.
Things you didn't do could be on the good list too, probably.
Potentially, but the things that were listed as bad, it was only like the negation of the good thing.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe the point is that he didn't do anything specifically bad.
Right. Or like the worst he did was just not go out of his way to do these other good things.
Mm-hmm.
So on to chapter 9 here. I don't know if you want to take on the rest of this because this is the trumpets now.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so these last few chapters are all about the trumpets. Of course, we get that imagery a lot, especially in Revelation.
Are there angels associated with those trumpets?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Chapter 9. The first trumpet. A proclamation of triumph and visitation of the righteous. Then a great angel came forth, having a golden trumpet in his hand, and he blew it 3 times over my head, saying, "Be courageous, O one who has triumphed. Prevail, O one who has prevailed, for you have triumphed over the accuser, and you have escaped from the abyss and Hades. You will now cross over the crossing place. For your name is written in the book of the living." I wanted to embrace him, but I was unable to embrace the great angel because his glory is great. Then he ran to all the righteous ones, namely Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Enoch and Elijah and David.
Yeah, so a lot of very important characters.
Yes, there's a rather long footnote about this. These 6 righteous ones have a special status for the writer of the Apocalypse of Zephaniah. After leaving Hades, where Aremiel watches over the souls entrusted to him, the seer enters the realm of the righteous and meets those who did not sojourn to Hades. In this group, Enoch serves as the prototype for the others. The statement that Enoch walked with God and he vanished because God took him gave rise to early speculation about where he was taken. Jubilees 4:23 reports that he was conducted to the Garden of Eden, where he writes down all the wickedness of the children of men. In 1 Enoch 70, we are told that his name was raised aloft and he saw angels measuring the place for the elect and righteous. He also saw the first fathers and the righteous who dwelt there. Unfortunately, that chapter in 1 Enoch cannot be dated. According to J.T. Millick.
Yeah. We remember covering some of Millick's work.
Yep. The books of Enoch, it's a portion from 1 Enoch, which was not attested in Qumran. The removal of the patriarchs and David to paradise presented a more severe problem because their death and burial was an accepted fact, and their tombs were available as shrines. The Testament of Abraham, the Testament of Isaac, the Testament of Jacob, which are relatively late documents, preserve an account of how it was done. The body of each patriarch was buried, but his soul was removed to be with God. See also the Apocalypse of Moses for the removal of Adam's soul. An earlier witness to that tradition may possibly be seen in Jesus' argument preserved in Matthew 22:29 through 33. The climax of the argument is found in verse 32. I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is God, not of the dead, but of the living. Apparently, a similar removal was recorded by King David, whose eternal presence was required as a musician who leads the praise of God with his harp and song. See Apocalypse of Paul 29. See also the Coptic Apocalypse of Paul, folio 36a. The motivation for David's transfer to a heavenly scene is probably to be located in a text such as the Septuagint version of Psalm 16, or Septuagint 15:10, in which it is stated that God would not leave his, i.e. David's, soul in Hades. It is also quite possible that the author of Acts 2:25 through 36 was arguing against a popular Jewish opinion that the soul of David was in paradise while his incorruptible body remained in the tomb. The author of Acts would be opposed to the theology of the present text because he explicitly states that David did not ascend into the heavens. It is interesting to note that the Christian addition to 4th Ezra, commonly referred to as 5th Ezra, contains a list of the Jewish heroes that begins with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Elijah, and Enoch. It then adds the names of the prophets, but does not mention David. The number of righteous persons in the heavenly paradise described in our text is not obvious. Chapter 11:1 mentions multitudes, but it's not clear that they are presently in paradise.
Yeah, but you definitely consider those among the righteous, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, to finish chapter 9, he spoke with them as friend to friend, speaking with one another. So this angel is friends with all these patriarchs.
Yeah.
Now we're in
the other buddies.
They all are victorious together.
Yeah. Now chapter 10, a second trumpet, the opening of heaven, a vision of souls in torment.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
Yeah.
These are always the best parts.
Then the great angel came to me with the golden trumpet in his hand, and he blew it up to heaven. Heaven opened from place where the sun rises to where it sets, from the north to the south. I saw the sea, which I had seen at the bottom of Hades. Its waves came up to the clouds. I saw all the souls sinking in it. I saw some whose hands were bound to their neck, with their hands and feet being fettered. I said, "Who are these?" He said to me, "These are the ones who were bribed, and they were given gold and silver until the souls of men were led astray."
Okay. So this is This reminds me of the Apocalypse of Peter, in which you get this, as you get this journey through heaven and hell, once he's in hell looking at all these different tortures, he's like, what's this torture for? What's that torture for?
Mhm.
Like, who gets this punishment? So it looks like there's another one right there.
Yeah. So led astray, and I saw others covered with mats of fire. I said, "Who are these?" He said to me, "These are the ones who give money at interest, and they receive interest for interest." So compounding interest.
Yeah.
And I also saw some blind ones crying out, and I was amazed when I saw all these works of God. I said, "Who are these?" He said to me, "These are catechumens who heard the word of God, but they were not perfected in the work which they heard." So
they tried to, they were trying to be pious, but they failed, I guess.
And there's a bit here. The quotation could certainly pass as a Christian statement with its use of the word kachomenos in close proximity to metanoia in verse 10 and joined to a discussion of ones who were not perfected, which probably reflects a vorlage containing teleoi, but one is not compelled to read it that way. The word metanoia, received from the intertestamental Jewish writings, many of the nuances that it has in the New Testament. Oh, okay.
So we can, sorry, you said it was metanoia?
Yeah, metanoia.
Okay, I will look it up in my Greek lexicon.
All right. The idea of the perfection of just men has a wider history. It has philosophical antecedents as well as currency to describe initiates in mystery religions. Furthermore, the use of teleos in the Septuagint to translate tamin and shalem.
Looks like it's, at least in ancient Greek, it would just be an afterthought or a repentance.
Oh.
That's what I got. Unless it's supposed to be spelled differently, because they do a transliteration, not the actual Greek. It would be much more helpful to have the actual Greek.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. But this has wide currency in Jewish writings. Thus, Noah is designated as perfect in the Septuagint of Genesis 6:9 in the sense of wholeness. So too, Enoch was described as perfected in the Wisdom of Solomon 4:13. Consequently, the only word that is not fully current in Jewish writings is kachomenos. But that does not exclude its possible use by a Jewish author. There was a considerable degree of continuity between Jewish and Christian methods of instruction. The verb kachio was used by both Philo and Josephus in the sense of giving information. It would therefore not be too surprising to discover a Jewish writer who used the passive participle to describe those who were taught. Finally, there's one element in Christian usage which is not clearly present in the text. In Christian usage, the term often refers to instruction of proselytes, but there's no reason to assume that those who were instructed in this text were any other than members of the community who had been fully informed of the significance of their own tradition.
Yeah, it's about instruction, basically. So it's to... So the verb that it comes from, to sound a thing in one's ear, to teach by word of mouth, to instruct, and then in the New Testament, it would be to instruct in the elements of religion.
And I said to him, "Then do they not have repentance here?" He said, "Yes." I said, "How long?" He said to me, "Until the day when the Lord will judge."
Ah, yes.
Yep.
The day of judgment.
Yep. And I saw others with their hair on them. I said, Then there is hair and body in this place? He said, yes, the Lord gives body and hair to them as he desires.
All right.
So yeah, your afterlife, you have a physical body.
But it's in heaven, though.
In accordance with the desires of God.
Also, yes.
Yeah.
This is interesting, actually. I'm going to have to remember that because right now I'm writing a paper for my Crusades course, and I want to talk about how the Crusades influenced theology, and that includes Christian and Jewish and whatnot. And there's this whole thing about how they started to believe in a more bodily resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just another piece of that story, which would be kind of cool to cover.
Mm-hmm. Now we're in chapter 11, the intercession of the saints for those in torment. And I also saw multitudes. He brought them forth. As they looked at all the torments, they called out, praying before the Lord Almighty, saying, we pray to you on account of those who are in all these torments, so that you might have mercy on all of them. And when I saw them, I said to the angel who spoke with me, who are these? He said, these who beseech the Lord are Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Then at a certain hour daily they come forth with the great angel. He sounds a trumpet up to the heaven, and another sound upon the earth. All the righteous hear the sound. They come running, praying to the Lord Almighty daily on behalf of those who are in all these torments. Oh, of course, that doesn't do anything, as we learned in, what was it, Daniel? No, not Daniel.
We learned it through thoughts and prayers.
No, there was a book that specifically talked about how...
Oh, the angels
that was in like 4th Ezra,
Ezra, yeah.
He talks about how praying on the behalf of others is completely worthless because God makes his judgment anyway, and you're not going to sway him. Yep. Chapter 12, another trumpet blast heralding the coming wrath of God. This is the last chapter. And what an ending that it comes to.
Okay.
Well, we'll get there. And again, the great angel comes forth with the golden trumpet in his hand, blowing over the earth. They hear it from the place of the sunrise to the place of the sunset, and from the southern regions to the northern region. And
so
again,
the entire world.
Yes. And again, he blows up to heaven, and his sound is heard. I said, O Lord, why did you not leave me until I saw all of them? He said to me, I do not have authority to show them to you until the Lord Almighty rises up in his wrath to destroy the earth and all the heavens.
So you can only see some of them for now.
Yeah. Also, it's confirmed here that on the day of judgment, God's not only going to destroy the earth, but also the heavens.
Yeah,
it's time for a new one, yeah.
Yeah. They will see and be disturbed, and they will all cry out, saying, all flesh which is ascribed to you, we will give to you on the day of the Lord. Who will stand in his presence when he rises in his wrath to destroy the earth and the heaven? Every tree which grows upon the earth will be plucked up with their roots and fall down, and every high tower and the birds which fly will fall. ... 4 pages missing. The end.
Oh my God. ...
4 pages missing. I'm angry.
4 pages missing. The end.
Yep.
Okay, well that was unfortunate.
Yeah, I told you the ending was going to be
Bilbo
something
got up
else,
to the volcano at the end.
Yeah.
All of the rest is missing.
You know, the part about them, giving up their body and whatnot. Mm-hmm. There's this in my readings for my paper, there was this story about during one of the Crusades, some of the Jewish community, they killed each other and themselves to kind of give their body back to God, like they were just sacrificing themselves so they also wouldn't be killed by the Crusaders.
Oh yeah, I heard about the mass suicides basically in some of these Jewish temples. And keep going though.
I mean that was it was suicides and murders.
Yeah.
Like they
made sure no one was left.
And it wasn't like I don't think it was like super widespread or anything. This happened in like a couple communities.
When they get cornered by a big group.
Not even cornered.
Oh, whoa.
They were like, hey, there's a crusade coming. Like, and they're planning on killing people. And then they were like, fuck that. We'll just kill each other. Not if I kill me first.
Wow. Yeah, that's some logic.
Yeah, and they had like this theological reasoning about, this is God's body anyways, like let's give it back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that's in here as well.
Yeah. But that's the end of this fragmentary text. What did you think about the Apocalypse of Zephaniah?
I thought it was kind of neat. The fact that it is so fragmentary is
kind of painful.
Yeah, that sucks. It'd be better if it wasn't, obviously. Although
what it did have
was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool to have some of that angelology. Obviously, very Greek book. Very Greek. Like they have
Hades.
A fucking river boat in Hades.
Yeah.
And
also Hades, the underworld. That's just the Greek. That's what the Greeks used for Sheol.
Yeah.
So,
this is one of those few ones where I wish it wasn't fragmentary.
Right.
Yeah, some of the ones that are fragmentary are like, whatever. You were a list of things that we heard already, kind of. So this is not that.
So what do you want to cover next week? We could do Third Enoch. We could do
a poll.
We could do a poll. Let's see.
There's a lot of things because on Sunday we're doing the book of Zephaniah.
Mm-hmm.
And after that there is Haggai. And Haggai, it takes place during Darius's reign.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure anything
is the Mede
thematically appropriate in there.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be thematically appropriate. I don't think it would be. However, there might be something in there, right?
Third Maccabees.
Let's see. There's the Apocalypse of Adam.
Yeah, we could read the Apocalypse of Adam or the Testament of Levi or
these apocalypses.
Third Enoch or any number of things. I'll only point out to everyone that on Sunday we're going to be reading Zephaniah. Then the Sunday after we're doing Haggai. Then we'll be doing a few weeks on Zechariah and then Malachi, and then we're done with the Old Testament. Right? That is like, what? 6 weeks, including Sunday. So
we will get it done 2 weeks before the end of the year. Probably.
Yep. So everyone should look forward to that.
Oh, yeah. And then by the time by the time Christmas comes around, we'll be doing Jesus stuff.
Ooh.
Perfect time.
Nice.
Yeah,
celebrate the holidays. Good stuff. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what we'll cover, but we'll figure it out. We could start a poll. If I don't know if anyone in the chat has ideas on what you want to see us cover. So the Apocalypse of Adam, we have another. There are plenty of books of Ezra here. Apocryphon of Ezekiel, Third Enoch is also an option. Another book of Baruch.
I think there's a couple more books of Baruch.
Yeah.
We could do some wisdom literature.
We could do some wisdom literature if you guys are, masochistic.
In fact, that can be a poll option. Some wisdom literature. You can just pick one randomly.
Because it really doesn't matter too much.
They're all basically the same.
It's got wisdom in it. It's probably impersonating or making wisdom a person,
Let's see.
Something like that. It's got the same ideas.
Third Baruch has apocalyptic
stuff. I think we would have to read Second Baruch first.
Yeah, we'll have to read Second Baruch before getting to that.
Yeah. just for, I don't know,
Didn't we read
continuity.
first, Baroque?
We read first, yeah.
Let me see. Okay, this is everything in this book that we haven't read yet.
It's all the stuff in red.
Yes. Apocalypse of Adam, Testament of Adam, 2nd Baruch, 3rd Baruch, Apocalypse of Daniel, Apocalypse of Elijah, 3rd Enoch, Apocryphon of Ezekiel. I'm pretty sure we read the 4th book of Ezra. I don't know about the Greek Apocalypse of Ezra,
Nope.
the Questions of Ezra, the Revelation of Ezra, or the Vision of Ezra, unless those are different names for the Ezra stuff that we've already gone over.
Esdras.
That Ezra stuff is like, it's just annoying.
Yeah. There's also the Testament of Job, the Testament of Moses, the Apocalypse of Shadrach, the Treatise of Shem, the Sibylline Oracles.
Yeah, the Sibylline Oracles, so they are important in that they contain a lot of theology and a lot of, soteriology. They contain like a lot of stuff for the Jewish community at that time. You can really tell like what a good portion of the community believed about a whole bunch of stuff. So it's important in that sense, but I couldn't imagine reading it would be amazing.
So we're getting one vote for the
Apocalypse of Elijah.
Apocalypse of Elijah.
I mean, we'd always just do a poll too, but yeah, okay.
I mean,
so we can put that on the poll.
We could do a poll, or we can just check out what the Apocalypse of Elijah is right now, because we can do that. So, the Apocalypse of Elijah, over 700 pages into this book, which I have to flip backwards to.
Yay.
And oh man, the Apocalypse of Adam is so short.
It's pretty short, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
Looks like the Testament of Adam is also kind of short.
Yeah,
There it is.
Apocalypse of Elijah. So there's a big introduction.
Right.
Then there is. Oh, it talks about the Antichrist
Good stuff.
and the martyrdom of Elijah and Enoch.
Huh.
The Apocalypse of Elijah is longer.
Yeah, looks
But
like
it would only be one Friday still, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
it'd be a hard call.
like 20 pages in here.
But that includes,
Yeah.
A lot of commentary.
yeah.
And it's only 5 chapters long.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and about anywhere between half and 3/4 of each page is commentary.
Okay. So it'd be another one of those more commentary, less.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you
It'll probably be
guys,
done in one, yeah.
we can do the Apocalypse of Elijah next week.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Sounds
Yeah,
fine.
give
to
me a bookmark. There we go. Then it's settled. Next week, Friday, we're covering the Apocalypse of Elijah. Lawrence can read all about it between now and then.
I will, yeah. Good stuff. All right. So next, I guess on Sunday, we will be here with Landon, and we will be reading Zephaniah, of course. And hopefully we get some answers to those great questions. We won't, but let's hope. So
Yeah. And man, only 6 more Sundays before we're done with the Old Testament.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
A very, very long journey that's been. If you guys have enjoyed the stream, make sure to drop a like, because more viewer engagement means more popping up in suggested feeds, and that's better for us and for you too, for some reason, obviously. Let's see what else we got. We have make sure to subscribe and all that good stuff you're supposed to do. We have an Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
We got lots of books on there. So if you feel like, if you want us to do a video on something, you could get a book on that subject that would be on the wish list, and we'll do a video on it. Or you can it would be used as a source in future videos. Is what I
Or
mean.
we can just read it for fun.
Woo.
That
if you
too.
want to just get us a book to read.
That
for fun.
too, potentially. And if it's like a commentary or something, it would probably go on this table. So we'd probably get to it on this show.
Yeah, we've got to get those New Testament commentaries together.
Yeah, I have the ones on Matthew, ones on Mark, and the ones on Luke at home.
Well, we need more.
I agree. We do need more.
And you can help with that.
You can.
Viewers.
The link is in the description. Let's see what else we have. We have a Patreon as well. And on the Patreon,
You can get entered into a t-shirt giveaway.
yeah, and the t-shirt giveaway, of course, we'll be doing on Sunday
Yeah.
for this month.
Or if you just want to buy a t-shirt.
Yeah,
you can click that pinned merchandise right there to get yourself a Christmas present. In fact, you should buy Milwaukee Atheist t-shirts for every single one of your friends and family members for Christmas.
And enemies.
They would love it, especially your enemies. They would love it for some
Yes.
reason. They want a big B on their shirt, right?
Of course.
Yeah, don't we all?
Buzzy B, our mascot.
Absolutely. So you could do that, and you get other perks for being a patron as well. All of them are listed on the site. And let's see what else we have. Facebook and Twitter, free to follow us on those. I think that should be all the show.
Yeah, that's basically everything. You can send in your Lawrence diss tracks to MilwaukeeAtheists@gmail.com. And without further ado, we will see you on Sunday and then Friday.
Sunday.
And